you so much for being here today. Can you tell us who you are and what you do?
Yeah, of course. My name is Senay Alkebu-lan. I'm the creative director of Futurisme. I'm a multidisciplinary artist, designer, a Pan-Africanist. I guess you could call me an activist, because we've been active.
Can you talk about the naming of Futurisme and explain what is Afrofuturism for our viewers who might not know, and how does it relate to your art?
So to give some background, my brand used to be called Medal Future. I started it when I was 17. Medal Future translates to Black Future very literally, and Somali is Medal and Futur is just French spelling of future. Afrofuturism had been kind of foundational in my aesthetic and my thought process. And Afrofuturism, for many people, is just futuristic stuff with Black people,
right.
But it's actually a lot deeper than that. It really has to do with imagining what a future for Black people looks like, especially considering, our history of oppression and our current state. Afrofuturism gives us an opportunity to see something new for ourselves, and kind of gives us that political ideology and strategy as far as how to change those conditions so that we do reach our ideal future. And it was called Medal Future partially also because a lot of big fashion houses are named after people, and I wanted something with 2 words that sounded like that. One of the things that my father would always tell me that we don't follow people, we follow principles. And Futurism is a principle, and Medal Future is kind of a pseudonym, if that makes sense. And so really I wanted to create something that 1 is going to outlive me, and 2 is a set of principles that everyone can connect to. And I personally believe that the kind of philosophy behind my work, being grounded in Pan-Africanism, and the way that we look at the world and kind of foster community are applicable to all communities. And so if everybody lived according to the tenets of Pan-Africanism, then literally the world would be a better place, and the systems of oppression that we have that affect so many people simply wouldn't exist. As a community, we don't have that. And so we are often looking for representation from folks that aren't us.
Right.
We don't have institutions that serve our interests, and I think that that's a good place to start.
Can you tell us a little bit about your family history and how that has manifested in you as an artist?
Most of my ideology, I think, it's almost like it's inherent, if that makes sense, because of how I grew up. And so, both of my parents are artists and educators in the Black community. And then my father's parents met in the Black Panther Party. My grandfather doing photography for them, and also organizing labor unions in San Francisco in the 60s and 70s. And my grandmother cooking in the free breakfast program, which is where they met, but also traveling the country, raising money for the Free Huey campaign when he was incarcerated. And their parents being kind of involved politically as well. And so there's no other way that I know how to live. I'm such a community born and bred person that if I were to make anything, it would have to serve my community, it would have to actively speak to our conditions. And so I'm really just a conduit of all of the love, care, and education that's been poured into me since birth.
I want to know how your brand, or how you serve your community through your brand.
We do that through a couple things. I think the first is education. The entire purpose of the whole Oakland 1966 collection was to create a uniform for people that are uplifting that work, people who are serving their communities actively, because I think that we as folks that do good things for our communities need to have things that represent that. Why would the things that we wear say something else? And so that's one way, and kind of bringing attention to that history. And if I'm being honest, I think I've in many ways succeeded in that. I think that Panther iconography has become a lot more popular, especially locally, as a result of that work. And we partner with Aerosol, mural organization, and we paint the aspects of the 10-point program, which were the kind of the manifesto of the Black Panther Party, and the list of needs and demands that we needed met as a community, many of which, actually all of which, have not been met. And here we are 57 years after the writing of that.
So I'm really excited about your show, your upcoming show this Saturday. What was the inspiration behind the Workers' Rave?
Workers' Rave is inspired both by workers, like labor movements, and just I think that kind of class consciousness that has been, developed in me for some time, as well as my grandparents' involvement and stuff like that. And also the Black contributions to electronic music. And I think that the intersection of those things are like Detroit auto factories. And I'd been into workwear for some time, but had not really leaned into the industrial aspect of design. And so this is just an opportunity to really just push that in and show off, honestly, how fantastic our cultural expression has been in history, and that those movements and things are still alive.
That was a really beautiful show. Thank you so much for sharing your art with all of us. Can you tell me what was the most challenging part about this experience?
Honestly, it was just a crazy amount of work. I mean, me and my team have been working non-stop for like the past couple months, getting everything together, and you plan and God laughs. And I think trust sounds like the hard part, but for the first time it was easy because I had the most amazing people working with me to get this done. So, and yeah, that was the most gratifying thing as well.
That was my next question, was what is the most gratifying or satisfying part about this experience?
Yeah, just being able to work with folks that are incredible. Some folks that I'm working with for the first time, other folks I've been working with for years, some folks my whole life, I have my family involved. And so it was incredible that everything came together really well. Everybody looked incredible.
Yeah, it felt like
people showed out.
So what's next for you and for Futurism?
I have to get all this stuff ready for production. This collection's coming out pretty soon, actually. And so a lot of stuff is in motion, but there's still some stuff left to do. And we're also, we're expanding. We're expanding our modes of delivery from an artistic standpoint. So we've got a film coming called The Prophecy. We're doing music, we're doing dance. We're going to start and do a lot more events, and this is really our Phoenix era, so that we can show how incredible our community is, and not hide behind fear, or just really show like this is how brilliant I can be, and some, and keep going up from here.
I love that, and I'm so excited to see it. Even more excited for the drop.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here with us. This is a beautiful experience, so I'm glad we were able to come out and document.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's great to have you guys.